After the mad god Tharizdun had been defeated by the archmage Lythan, much of his dark army remained, splintered, but still powerful. Out of these came warring tribes and upstart nations, and none were more feared than the orcs. Unlike the drow, who were content to burn a city and enslave its population, the orcs were not as sophisticated, most of the time burning a city, killing its warriors, and then eating or burning whoever was unlucky enough to survive the initial attack. When the city of Estermont realized that a horde of orcs was fast approaching them, its young lord called upon the Battleragers, the dwarven tribe who had saved their sister city of Westmarch from the Dark Elves, and who went on to become heroes of the coalition during the last war. The Battleragers answered the call and accepted a contract to defend Estermont from the orcs. The defense of the city would be hard fought and with tremendous losses, but like in Westmarch, the great tribe was victorious. After the battle, the young and foolish lord of Estermont saw that more than half of the Battleragers had died, while his knights and soldiers had not been in the vanguard and had taken few losses. The young lord declared that gold was of little use to mountain tribals and declined to pay the dwarves for their services. This offended Ortho Thuun, the Shira Kadesh of the Battleragers, and so the Battleragers dared what not even the orcs could do, and sacked the city. After the Battleragers had filled their coffers with the gold in Estermont's treasury and any valuables they could find in the ruined homes of the city's population, Ortho Thuun summoned the Shira Mora and the Shira Gaina to the city, who were the armorer and the spiritual leader of the Battleragers respectively. The conquering Shira Kadesh declared that he and the two other leaders of his tribe would decide what would be done with the survivors of his attack, which included the Lord of Estermont, who had refused to pay them in the first place. On the third day after the arrival of the Shira Mora and the Shira Gaina, the three tribal leaders announced the proclamation that Estermont had been awaiting and dreading. They declared that in retribution for the broken contract, that the city of Estermont would have to make a tribute of metal and blood to the dwarves, which was the payment that their strange religion demanded. The tribute of metal had been paid when the Battleragers sacked the city and took all their gold, but the tribute of blood was much more horrifying. To replace the warriors who had fallen in the defense against the orcs, the Battleragers would take all of the dwarven children in Estermont, so they may bear the armor, and live and die in the glory of battle and the dream of Valhalla. Ortho Thuun explained to the foolish lord of Estermont that when they had defeated the Dark Elves in the Battle of Westmarch, that they had required the same tribute from them. The drow paid their tribute of metal in the form of their weapons that the surviving Dark Elves had offered to the Battleragers, but the tribute of blood was something much more valuable. The night before the Battle of Westmarch, the woman who would become the new drow matriarch gave birth to a boy, and Ortho had demanded him as payment. The boy was growing tall and strong, and would one day be destined to have a warrior's death and cross the Chrome Bridge to Valhalla. It was because of this that the Shira Kadesh required one human child to be taken along with the rest of the dwarven children. Ortho knew that the Lord of Estermont had an infant girl that had been born a week before the sack of the city, and he told the foolish lord that his daughter would now be raised as a Battlerager, and that if she survived her youth, she would become a perfect war machine worthy of the armor, fueled by the strength in her muscles and the fury in her heart. As the Battleragers left Estermont with the tribute of blood they had demanded, Ortho left one more message to the King of the West, who was riding in full force to try and save the fallen city. The hands of the Lord of Estermont were nailed to the city gates, along with a piece of parchment that had a single sentence written on it: "Their debt is paid."